Hey, everybody. Welcome back for a special edition. I guess they're all special. They're like my kids. They're all special. Another special edition of the Triple Option. This one's like super special. This is like the kid you like more than the other ones that you don't want to like tell your wife about. This is our first ever visual mailbag edition of the Triple Option. We've taken your questions, our listeners, our beautiful and smart and talented listeners, and we've got your questions. And we're not just going to answer them. You get our voices. We got some of the film to kind of back up our answers. I've actually never seen anybody do something like this, so we're landing on the moon for the first time, boys. We're the first, and we're going to be the best. So I'm excited. Adam, Kevin, are you guys excited? Fresh off the bye week, looking just refreshed and great and youthful and happy?
Listen, man, I've got a 3-year-old and a 9-month-old that have been driving me crazy, so I'm never refreshed. But, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty pumped to have not lost the bye week anyway. I mean, last time we had a bye week, Norvell caught COVID, and we thought all hell was breaking loose. So, I mean, at least we made it through the week with nobody, I don't know, catching a life-threatening illness.
Well, we've learned from our mistakes, and we really gave bye week hell in the rematch. So that's great. Kevin, how do you feel? I know you don't have little humans running around ripping your hair out of your head. How you doing?
No, I do not. No, I'm doing great. I think a little bit during the bye week, I started daydreaming about basketball season, and I got a little distracted. You know, I was living in the better world, so to say. But no, now we're jumping full force back into football. So I'm never gonna take some football for granted.
Well, like an anchor, I'm going to pull you back down to reality because it's Florida State football time. And boys, we've got a ton of questions ready to jump into it with the accompanying film. I would be remiss to say R.I.P. Sean Connery, star of many, many films that I enjoy. My favorite being The Rock. So just before we get into it, I'm just going to give one good Womack. And then he says a bunch of other stuff, but I can't say it. All right, let's get into it. First question. God, all right, I love Sean Connery. All right, Adam, our first question. Going to go to you first.
All right.
Where's the real defensive problem, Adam? Is it in the scheme or is it in the execution? And I'm guessing by execution, he's saying scheme or personnel, just reading between the lines.
Yeah, I mean, this has obviously been a really, really hot topic kind of going through the year here. And I mean, I think you really have to look at it as it really is kind of both. And I know that's a cop-out.
Not hot take. Not good. Not a good start.
It's a cop-out answer, but I mean, I've been pretty openly in favor of Adam Fuller throughout the season. So I think everybody knows where my feelings are there. I think he's doing the best he can with the circumstances that he's kind of been dealt. I think the defensive problems, I mean, you know, really the defensive problems are on the players, but I think that there's been a teaching problem with Adam Fuller and his defensive staff getting some things across to the guys to get them, you know, to buy in, to understand what they're trying to accomplish down to down situationally. But I mean, I think when it really boils down to it, I mean, the guys just aren't executing. We continue to see them put in position to make plays, and they don't make them for whatever reason that is. And I think confidence has become a bigger issue for the guys. And I don't want to cop out, but it really, when you're this bad, you can't point to one thing. Like, it can't just be one thing. Like, we're talking a historically bad defense. It can't just be on one specific thing. It's really on all. I think the scheme's fine. I think execution is a problem. Where the issue is in that execution, I don't know.
Kev, so same question to you, but I'm gonna add a little twist on there. Norvell has been praised for the adaptability of his offense based on the personnel that he's got. Do you think that Adam Fuller, is he employing the same mindset, or is this first year more about establishing this is the type of defense that we're going to run here at Florida State? This is my scheme, more like a scheme establishment, tone-setting year, more so than adapting his philosophies to the personnel that he has?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that you see a little bit of both.
Ooh.
So
God, you're copping out too. I got two cops here.
I mean, but I'll give you some background, right? So in that second game versus Miami, you see a lot of the 3-4, 3-5 look, whatever you want to call it, where you have 3 down linemen and you're basically playing almost a dime package. And I guess it's a 3-2-6 is what would the common term be?
Adds up to 11. That's good. I'm
Yeah.
sure there was some 3-2-5s out there, and we got some penalties. And
Yeah,
stuff.
you know.
But yeah.
But like he adapted. He did what he had to do to feel like he was successful. He doesn't run. That's not his base defense. That's not what he wants to run. Yet you see him doing it, and I think we're going to see them experiment a little bit more with positions. They've already done that a little bit, but I think they're going to start moving guys around and really just start seeing where people fit. I think the first few games they said, all right, maybe there's a scheme we can work around with these guys to be more successful. And I think they're now getting to the point where they're saying, all right, no scheme we can use is going to make these, is going to polish these kids to the level we need them to be.
They're going to call them turds. That was nice. That you held back.
That's what I was thinking.
This is good. It was good holding back. I drug you into the muck.
Yeah, I wasn't going to go there, but now you're going to see just different looks, different. We might see Gaynor play some Fox. Who knows? Like we've been saying all year, we'd like to see. We might see Jaden Lars-Woodby out in like at the stud position, the strong side kind of linebacker position. And that might be good. That there might be a reason they're moving him out there. I personally think would be a good matchup against a lot of slot receivers, but I would take him out immediately as soon as teams start putting in tight ends and stuff. But yeah, what do you think about that, Adam? How do you feel about the positional changes and stuff?
Yeah, so I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is at the beginning of the year, they spent a lot of time talking about the time lost evaluating. So it makes me think that they've tried to use these first few weeks to evaluate where guys best fit. And on defense, I mean, that's really what it boils down to is where you fit and kind of fit into the 11th, your 1/11th of the defense, even more so than on offense. So I think that's interesting that they've been really preaching and harping on that. And they're trying to, they spent this last week really figuring it out and getting guys in a position where they think they're going to be more successful. I also wonder if there's some guys that have some NFL aspirations or glory thoughts in their heads that maybe they're a certain position and really they're not. And now they're able to have some tape and say, look, we're telling you fit better here than back there at safety or out there at stud linebacker or whatever. And they're going to start getting the guys moved around based on that. I do think that bringing a Lars-Woodby up allows you to match up a little bit better against some of these spread passing attacks, and you need a pass rush. So moving a Gaynor around to free him up to rush a passer also makes sense. So I mean, I think it's good that they're trying to incorporate some new things.
So to answer the original question, is everything? However, like I said, what I hear, it's more execution than anything else, and hopefully I think we're going to try to counter that with just shuffling the kids that we got. So I think we're going to see a lot of shuffling, but I think the question has been sufficiently answered. You guys ready to move on? I
got one more thing to add.
Then please go ahead.
So this is all I want to say about the subject, and then I feel like I've said my piece. But look at who Norvell brings on as coaches. The guy has proven early in his coaching career to be one of the best in the country at bringing on assistant coaches. He's got, Dillingham was at Auburn. He's got a guy at Georgia. He's got Alex Atkins that's following him currently. That's going to be the next big thing. I can almost assure you the guy's a great coach. So do we want to doubt that? Who do we want to doubt first? That Norvell somehow brought in just some terrible defensive coordinator after having such successful hires everywhere else? Or do we want to think maybe there's something at Florida State that's the problem, because we had a terrible defense last year and we have a terrible defense this year? So why are we jumping to the new guys when we're not looking at what's been the same the past 2 years?
The constant is the players and honestly the way the defense has looked. And to be honest with you, we're going to have with more reps, with more evaluation time, with more data analyzed, we'll have a better picture of Adam Fuller's year one. But guys, you got to be kind of cheering for Adam Fuller, because the last thing these kids need is another defensive coordinator. And
they're not going to get one.
I don't think so either. So, but the fans will talk. Great point. All right, moving on. Kevin, what can Florida State do on offense if JT13, that's Jordan Travis for the uninitiated, I know there's some dueling nickname battles for that young man. If JT13 cannot run, and I think this question is probably coming from the lack of effectiveness from the offense in the Louisville game. Now, a lot of that was drops. That was my drop hands. We'll get to that later in a question. It's a little teaser for you. But Kevin, what do we do if now Norvell said that Travis is healthy for this game coming into Pitt? The bye week helped, but he's always one weird slide away from like destruction. I always hold my breath when he's running. So what can Florida State do? If Jordan Travis, if that aspect of his game isn't going to be able to be utilized through injury or something else.
Yeah, I think that's really tough. He's the best runner we have on the field at any one time, and that's saying a lot because LaDamian Webb and Lawrence Toafili have just been pretty darn impressive in the backfield. And so it definitely hurts. I wouldn't be surprised if you see a lot more Chubba Purdy if like mixed in as a changeup or as someone just to absorb more hits from Jordan Travis. I wouldn't be surprised to see some straight Wildcat with Lawrence Toafili or LaDamian
Seen
Webb.
that before, yeah. A lot of Wildcats so far this year.
Like there's a game I made a video a few months ago of a game against UCF of all teams where Mike Norvell ran the Wildcat 30 times. And they scored 40 something points. So, he will do what he has to do to be successful. And right now it looks like if Jordan Travis can't run the ball, that's not a successful route for this offense.
What do you think about that, Adam? I mean, obviously, number one fan of Chubba Purdy here out of us three, even though we're all a fan of the kid. I mean, I'm sure your answer is just number one, go to Chubba. But besides that, and you can expound kind of on why that would be your number one answer if it is. What are some things that I guess Mike Norvell can do and they have done when the defense is like, let's say Jordan Travis is healthy, but the defense has taken away the threat of the quarterback run?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the first thing is you're going to have to be able to throw the ball. And I know that's not a strength, and we saw some of that against Louisville. But like you mentioned, I mean, the drops were a big factor. So I'm wondering what our feelings about Jordan Travis in this offense would have been coming off of Louisville had they caught the ball. Yeah, I really am curious where we would be sitting right now with this conversation had Keyshawn Hilton caught a second and 22 or a third and 22, whatever it was. Pokey doesn't let one bounce off his hands or multiple bounce off his hands. Warren Thompson makes a great catch on the side. I really feel like we'd be in a lot different place feeling, as far as if Jordan can't run the ball, what our comfort would be. I really truly believe we might be in a much different mindset right now for him. So I think that, and I just think it's something they're going to have to do, period, anyway, is get to throwing the football on early downs and get these defenses to kind of loosen up just a little bit. Having Terry back's going to help. He's a dynamic player. I mean, if Jordan can't run the ball, you got to find the ways to get the ball to Webb, Corbin, Toafili, and Terry out of the backfield or out wide quick to let them try to make explosives that way. With Chubba, I mean, look, here's the thing. Chubba can run the offense as well as Jordan can, in my opinion, because he can do a lot of similar things running the football. They can run quarterback power with him into the backside, and I think he's a little more physical runner that he's going to be able to gain some of those tougher yards inside, but he's not as shifty as Jordan is, in tight spaces.
Right, and Adam, physically, we know that Chubba Purdy can run the offense, but as far as like mentally with like actually like running it in the checks and stuff, I'd still say that is, we don't know that yet, in my opinion.
It's TBD. I mean, it's to be determined. We don't know. We've got a glimpse of it. He was able to get some reps against Louisville, and he looked solid in the reps that he got. But you're never going to know until they get out there and are really bullets are flying. You hope that, I would like to believe, based on the things we've seen thus far, that Mike and Mike Norvell and Kenny Dillingham are putting them in positions in practice to get them good reps, good quality reps during practice. So, I mean, I think that you can get Chubb out there and be able to do some stuff throwing the football with him that maybe you can't do with Jordan. But really, look, the offense you're running with Jordan is the same offense you're going to run with Chuba. You might just spread it out a little bit more and try to create some more one-on-ones inside for Chuba, running some power stuff as opposed to reading guys.
Sure. And then right before we move on to the next one, which I know has a lot of film components as we look to future matchups for Florida State, Kev, just quickly, since the answer, if it's not Chuba Purdy, which we all think the offense will be more vertical, but it'll be largely the same, like Adam was saying, probably more power, more design runs, less of the option game. What route concepts, if your counter is Jordan Travis throwing the ball more, what just route concepts has Jordan looked the best throwing?
Well, he looks the best getting outside the pocket. He looks the best when you can kind of add that play action component to it. He's not terribly inaccurate. I wouldn't call him I wouldn't want him to run the air raid, but he can make decent passes over the middle, and open passes. But if I were to be scheming around him, I would just be trying to get him out of the pocket, even if he can't run and stay healthy. Just tell him to throw the ball away if he gets anybody in his face. And it also gives the offensive line a little bit more time to kind of buy some protection.
A guy I think they got to get more involved is Cam McDonald, though, like just going forward. And I think that you got to do that with some boot action. They need to get Jordan moving around more, like Kev was kind of talking about, getting him out of the pocket. I think they need to work some more bootleg action, just continue to let him get out on the edge, be a running threat, but be a throwing threat also. And I think Cam McDonald's got to play a bigger part for you in the middle of the field. Yeah,
I agree with all that. It's because you guys are the best. That's why I agree with you all the time. All right. So next question. What are the most dangerous matchups for/against FSU? Yeah. So what are the most dangerous matchups against FSU down the home stretch? So we've got some clips of some of the teams that we think are going to be the most, not necessarily the most dangerous, because we're not going to break down the Clemson game, because that's just going to be, we're going to bite the curb and just take whatever we get on that. But the remaining games, Pitt, that's this week, Clemson, North Carolina State, Virginia, who just came off of an upset win over North Carolina, tarnishing our little top 5 win a little bit. Shout out to the kid that got the tattoo of cornrows, Norvell, and then Duke. So let's go through some of the film, some of the things that we see that are going to be the most dangerous that Florida State's going to have the toughest time with from each of these teams. Kev, you want to go first here? What's the first clip we got up?
So let's talk about the next game, which is, hold on, let me get this pulled up. But the next game is against Miami and
Pitt.
Against Pitt. I was looking at Miami. It's against Pitt. And what Pitt does is they run this kind of match quarters zone. Basically, this guy's one-on-one on the outside unless he breaks inside, and then he lets it go. But what it does is it kind of allows both of their safeties to kind of play. That's a linebacker. The safety's back here. It allows both of them to play up, and couple that with their pretty stellar defensive line. They have one of the best defensive lines in the ACC, and they just have a stout run defense. Even against a quarterback with the running capabilities of De'Aaron King, I think they held him to like 2 yards a carry. What do you think?
Pat Narduzzi, a Michigan State disciple. If you close your eyes and maybe like rub Vaseline in it, this is the defense we were trying to run at Florida State with Harlan Barnett. So Adam, tell everybody why this one's better than the one that we tried.
Yeah, they're just freaking nasty up front. I mean, they are twitchy. I think you actually said that earlier, Trey. Somebody said that. I mean, they're just twitchy.
Kevin,
they're springy. I mean, I don't even know what that means, but
I like it though. It's a very action.
They get off the ball and they're explosive, and they make a lot of plays in the backfield. I mean, that's just what it boils down to.
So they're, I guess, arguably their best defensive player, that safety, Paris Ford, opted out. Kev, that's got to be a huge like win for Florida State. This kid's like everywhere on the film.
Yeah, so here's a video of him getting an interception against Miami.
I didn't even know that.
Clippy clip.
Yep. So he's a stud. He's a good player. He's everywhere. They ask a lot of their safeties because they've got to cover deep zones while simultaneously they're necessary and run fits. So it's not like, Saban's cover 3 match zone where one of them gets to roll into the box and kind of be more of a linebacker. He's asking both of his safeties to kind of be safeties and be linebackers at the same time, which is a little bit harder. So they are the linchpin of the defense. But as of now, their secondary is probably the weakest part of their team already. So
interesting. Okay.
It weakens it, but Florida State still has to have receivers willing to catch the ball and a quarterback that's going to accurately throw the ball to beat this team, because you're not going to run the ball 50 times against Pitt and expect to win anything.
No,
go ahead, Adam.
This is going to hurt their run fits, especially some of those edge boundary runs that Florida State likes to run, because that's where he's going to be. That's where he's going to be into the boundary, and so you're going to look to see what you can get, and then you're also going to look some of your RPO action that we've seen Florida State running a lot more recently. What that safety, can you get him in a bind and get some confusion there by that player with a nice ride, and maybe throw some balls to Terry coming in behind him on some RPO post.
Now I'm going to read between the lines here again because I'm so perceptive. I don't believe that we have any clips of Pittsburgh's offense because I don't think that we're that worried about them, correct? Especially if it looks like
we have one.
Oh, we do. So I'm an idiot again. So this is fun. That's a good running theme. Okay, Kevin, tell me why I'm an idiot and what can they do to scare us?
So Kenny Pickett is the best player on their offense, and the gap is about 1.5 miles wide.
That's a quarterback for our non-Pitt people.
That's their quarterback. So I'm coming out with a preview for Pitt in a couple days, and just to give you a teaser of my preview. My prediction basically goes between Kenny Pickett and Jordan Travis, whichever one's healthiest is going to win the game for their team. I think that's how that's going to go. Because without him, they don't have anything.
At this point, it doesn't seem like Pickett's going to play. Narduzzi's been kind of coy on it, but he didn't practice all last week, and he didn't practice today. So it looks doubtful that he's going to be playing this weekend.
All right, nasty defense, good quarterback. That's your minute Pitt preview. Look for Kevin, as he said, in a couple of days to give you the full shakedown, all the meat on that bone. All right, let's move on to our next dangerous, interesting opponent.
UVA. These are those 50-50
Broncos.
These are the 50-50 games I think they got left on their schedule. Pitt and UVA. They're the biggest toss-ups to me.
Yeah, I agree. They're a well-coached team. That Mormon focus. I mean, you have like 5 kids by the age of 23. Like these kids, they're all men. You're playing against a whole team of men.
Well, it's kind of funny too because they just started finding a quarterback that they can have success with. It's interesting.
Phenomenal. It's great.
You find a quarterback that can play a little bit, and you start winning games. I don't know what that's about.
All right. Well, what's going on here, Adam?
Yeah, this is I don't know what his first name is. His last name, I believe, is Armstrong. I mean, he's
Brennan.
just kind of Brennan Armstrong.
I
mean, he's just
stepbrothers. Yeah.
He's just kind of. He's just kind of. I don't know, goofy. I don't even know how to describe the kid. He's just a
lost for words. Okay,
he's a ball player.
Is he a pocket guy? Oh, he's a gamer. He's a gritty gamer.
He's mobile. He's mobile. I mean, you see him running here. Okay. You see him throwing the. I mean, you see him throw the ball on a rope to the tight end on that first clip, and here he's out here running around making plays. I mean, he breaks this for 30 or 25 or 26 yards or your touchdown, outrunning North Carolina defenders. So, I mean, he just is the kid. He just makes plays. I don't know. It's weird watching him. Like you look at him and you're like, this freaking kid's playing quarterback, and then all of a sudden he's busting one for 50. And you're like, got to worry about him.
Yeah, you know what? The goofiness does kind of come through. Kev, what particular things of the Fighting Bronco offense kind of scare you a little bit?
I mean, Brennan Armstrong is probably the linchpin of it. He's been a kind of fun development for them. But anytime you look at Virginia, you have to look at their defense. Bronco Mendenhall. I don't think it's physiologically possible to be born with the last name Bronco and not be a defensive coordinator. Like I think that's like
it's in the blood. Yeah,
right. Either you're like a sheriff somewhere or you're a defensive coordinator. It's like the two options you have.
You're either cleaning up. You're either cleaning up a whiskey hall in Dodge City, or you're a great defensive mind. There's the only two options.
And so you see the pass rush here. They're just a good defense. They're gonna be sound. They just play really consistent, sound defense. He's pretty aggressive. You can see this little zone blitz here.
Exotic blitz pressures too, like the pressure packages. I think they really do try to confuse the opposing team's offensive line, right, guys?
Yeah, they mirror UNC a lot, in my opinion. Defensively, anyway. That they like to bring a lot of guys, and they just kind of they'll sugar up to the line and come from different angles. And yeah, I mean, the biggest thing that always scares me about UVA with Mendenhall as their head coaches, they're just going to execute. They're going to continue to execute, make plays, and it might never look pretty, but they're going to do what they're coached to do, and they're going to be there in the end of the game. So, I mean, that's what, to me, makes them the most dangerous is just how consistent they can kind of be with their execution.
Fucking Broncos, like
and
you said. Bunch of Broncos out there running wild.
Found a freaking quarterback, of course.
They always have to. It has to happen right before us. All right. Any more UVA clips, Kev? We move to our last.
I think we move on.
All right. Duke.
Oh, yes, please.
Let's talk Cutcliffe. My God, just won't go away. Always there. Always fun to look at.
I mean, this has got to be the game left on the schedule that you're looking and thinking this is a win, right? I mean,
I don't know anymore, but yeah, I guess of all the ones that are left, yeah. Well, that's a good question. What do you think is a tougher matchup, a fully formed Duke or a Pitt without Pickett and Paris Ford?
That's interesting.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Losing Ford kind of changes it for me. I still think Pitt's probably a better team.
Okay.
Duke's just, I don't know. I don't know. I was looking at some film of them today, trying to pull some of these clips, and I'm like, oh, they're up on NC State, they're up on this team, they're up on that team, and then all of a sudden, like, they get blown out. I'm like, what the hell happened?
Ah, cool. They're mentally weak. Great. A battle of the pillows. It'll be a pillow fight. Yeah. What does Duke do well then, besides being soft like us?
I mean, Cutcliffe's a system guy. He brought in Bryce. I forgot his first name.
Bryce Hall, right? The kid or Chase something. The kid from Clemson, Chase Bryce something.
Yeah,
it's
Chase
like
Bryce.
It's like two lacrosse player first names combined into like one name.
Right. And so they're looking for some consistency in the passing game. I don't think they get it. I don't know. I think they just are kind of vanilla this year, and they don't really have the team to back up being vanilla. I don't think Bryce is what they expected him to be, and I don't think he gets the time that he needs to have to be successful.
All right, Adam, what's going on here on this play?
All right, let me take a little look at it here. So a little two back, a little unbalanced action. I mean, Bryce is, I don't know. It's what Kev was just kind of talking about. Like, they want to throw the football. I mean, that's who Cutcliffe is. I mean, he's a throwing guy, and they just give up a ton of pressure. Like, there are dudes in their backfield all day long. Like, I really thought I was watching 2018, 2019 Florida State there for a minute. Like, I was expecting Jawan Williams out there at left tackle. And
he of the flexible legs. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. My boy's getting tossed around a little bit like sack of taters, right, Kev?
Every game he gets annihilated. I mean, I give him credit. He keeps getting back up. So I mean that's the biggest thing for me is Duke just gives up so much pressure. But then on the other side of the other side of the ball, but they seriously bring a lot of heat all the time. So I mean defensively they scare you with their front. Chris Rumpf and then the other kid, I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but I mean they get after the quarterback pretty successfully. But I just think again it's another offense that's just abysmal that's left on the schedule that hopefully Florida State's figured out some defensive issues by the time the game comes around, and
you gotta hope so. You gotta hope we got something cooked up for Duke by the time we get to them. But we'd say the defensive line is the strength of this team, guys.
Oh yeah, hands down. That's the only strength they have really that I've seen.
Okay, good, awesome. Screw you, Duke. Fun.
And they're small too, so it's not like they're not showing up and out physicaling you at the point of attack. They're using a lot of speed, a lot of one gap quickness. To try to beat you. So you hope you can work your double teams and have success.
Okay. Kev, any more clips or is that I think we got all the matchup clips, right?
I think we did. Yep.
All right. Moving
we wanted
on.
to make that quick.
Moving on. Yeah, all right. In Clemson, we just couldn't find film on Clemson. They haven't been on TV a lot.
NC State. Don't even worry about it.
Blah. W.
Uh-huh.
I'm sweating.
Brother.
All right, let's move on to something. We're going to get real schematic here, guys. Favorite sports movies of all time. This is a great question. I'm a movie guy. Kev, what about you? Are you a movie buff? What are your favorite sports movies of all time?
I haven't watched a ton of sports movies recently.
Okay. Well, have you ever?
Yes, yeah. I mean, I
pretend for the question.
Sure. I got Major League up there. It's a baseball
it's a baseball movie.
if you didn't know, people in my generation might not know there, Trey.
That's true.
Waterboy's up there.
All right, we're gonna move on to Adam. The good stuff.
Yeah. Just move on from me.
All right, what about you?
I mean, everybody's sports list has to start with Bloodsport, right? I mean, is there a better sports movie in the world?
Never heard of this.
You're talking to the right guy. Kumite.
The Kumite.
Chong Lee, my big
buddy. Can I
tell
you that I went down
Frank
a
Dukes?
serious rabbit hole not long ago. That just happened to be on TV. I watched it and I started just looking and like researching the Kumite and like Frank Dukes' life story. Oh my goodness, what a mess that guy was.
Wild, dude. It's based on a true story. Now, I'm gonna guess there was some creative liberties taken.
Well, yeah, I'm definitely gonna guess so. But I mean, after Bloodsport, Rudy has always got a soft spot for me.
I think that movie sucks. I hate it.
I can never say that.
Yeah,
The
Natural,
Natural,
right?
I mean,
that's what I've heard. I can't.
Whatever. I don't care if he's
Samwise. I don't care about
Sam.
it.
Rudy. That's classic.
I love that you said blood. You can say whatever you want after saying Bloodsport. And how about the pecs on Chong Lee? My Lord, that guy's got a.
There's no way Van Damme is beating that dude in real life. I'm just saying.
Not with those boobies.
All right, come on, Trey. This question is built for you.
Yep.
You're the only one anybody wants to hear from.
All right, I am. God, my favorite. This is favorite sports movies of all time. Not necessarily best. My favorite sports movie of all time is The Little Giants. Movie about the Pop Warner football team, the annexation of Puerto Rico.
Oh yeah.
Johnny, I'm Johnny. All of it, Kid in the Bubble Wrap, Zoltek, the Gas Man, the Icebox, the O'Shea Brothers, Ed O'Neill at his best, Rick Moranis. I hope ice your chin. I know you got punched in Central Park. We all pray for Rick. That is my favorite. That's my favorite football movie. Like, everybody has to watch Remember the Titans in high school when the sub's in class because it's uplifting and.
Hey, that was filmed at my alma mater. Fun fact.
Is it? Okay, yeah, that was man. It's great for Yost, put my son in Yost. Yeah, all that good stuff. But Little Giants is my favorite football movie, and I think honestly, the sport that lends itself to movies the best is combat sports. So I think boxing movies are particularly very, very good. My favorite boxing movie outside of the Cheese Fest, that is the movie that won the Cold War, which is Rocky IV. That's right. I don't care. Ronald Reagan, Gorbachev. No, Sylvester Stallone ended the Cold War. These are facts. We established them as facts. If I could change, you could change. We all can change. He did it. He won over the Politburo. Thank you, Rocky Balboa, statesman and great fighter. My favorite boxing movie is actually Cinderella Man with
it's a good movie.
with Russell Crowe. That is a great movie. Story of James Braddock, one of those the old I think he was boxing in the 1920s, Great Depression, and that was an awesome one. And then another great sports movie is a Miracle with Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell is he's up there. He's up there as one of my favorite actors of all time. Smashes it as Canadian hockey coaching legend Herb Brooks. Great. So that's my list.
A great movie.
And baseball movies. I know a lot of people like baseball movies. My favorite ones aren't baseball related.
Yeah.
Sandlot. Take it or leave it.
Yep.
Some more what?
Yeah, it was good when he fakes drowning and then he sexually assaults that poor lifeguard. Yeah, that was great. Whatever. I don't
Wow.
Sandlot's a little overrated. Sorry, Squints.
There we go.
Hey, he get canceled in 2020. That's all I'm saying.
Yes,
So those are mine.
I've got another honorable mention for me.
I can't wait to hear
There's a terrible
yours.
movie called D3's Finest.
Is that Mighty Ducks? D3?
Yeah, I was getting ready to say.
No. It's not Mighty Ducks. It's about a Division III football team I played D3 sports, and
Killing me here, Kempo.
it's
You're
like
a video guy.
it's like watching. It's like a reality show of what D3 sports are like. You know, the coach is chasing the guys around with a first
So it's
down
accurate.
marker.
It's very
and,
accurate.
Oh yeah, it's extremely accurate. It's the dumbest movie you ever see, but it's exactly what life is like playing through D3 sports.
Those are good. My honorable mention, D2 of the Mighty Ducks franchise, where we go against apparently everybody from Iceland is very big, very blonde, and very evil. So
All 12 of
Team
them.
USA versus Team Iceland. And then Artie Lang's Beer League, not a movie to watch with the kids, and you've never heard of it before, but that's my list. Any honorable mentions before we move on? Fun question, gang.
Let's keep it rolling.
Let's keep going.
Rooting. All right. Man, I could talk about movies all the time. All right. Which of Norvell's
Listen, we're not
recruits?
sitting on a bench right now talking movies all day.
I love those guys. You're crazy. Which of Norvell's recruits from last year, so the incoming true freshmen from Norvell's transition class, I guess have made you most excited so far throughout the year?
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to start with Chubba. You got to.
No, I wouldn't start with him.
Why would you not?
Why would you start with him?
Because he just had the greatest 0 for 9 performance
with all of the playing.
history.
Adam, listen. With all of the playing time that all these other kids, well, you got to start with a guy who's in for 9 plays.
Hey,
Duh.
listen. You see, I know a stud when I see one, and that kid's a stud. It is what it is. Greatest 0 for 9 performance ever.
The real answer is the running backs. The
true.
real answer has to be the running backs. Even though.
All right, okay.
Isn't a recruit. He counts.
Webb is JUCO. He's a junior. Is Toafili special?
I think he's shown more than a 0 for 9.
You think he's going to be special?
I think he's gonna be good.
I'm not talking good. Good don't win you nothing. All right.
Look, I think I'm not gonna call someone special who I think a better player is coming in next year.
Oh, Altmaier. Interesting.
Just saying.
I like a little disagreement. It's tough too because I think Toafili's done some really good stuff. I like his vision. I like his agility. I don't even think he's close to a finished product yet. He's got a little skinny. So I think when he puts on some weight, he could be a kid. Who's gonna take his carries this year or next year? Like, I guess it kind of depends, but we don't have any running backs committed to my knowledge. I know they're in on some, but with a year like this, nothing's gonna be guaranteed that a better player is gonna come in to take his stuff. But yeah, that's interesting. I don't know. It's special and very good. I know Toafili's going to be good to very good. I don't know if he's going to be one of those guys that you look back in 15 years like super extremely fondly of.
I just consider the running back position in a Mike Norvell offense to be plug and play. Like
that's a good point. That is a good point.
But look at the history the guy's had. I mean,
yeah.
He digs 1,000-yard running backs up out of the dirt. Like that just isn't going to be a position for me that I'm going to overvalue because I just think he can constantly find guys. Quarterback, I do think Chubba's going to be really good. Better than really good. I think Chubba's going to be special. I think Chubba has the physical tools and the wherewithal, the work ethic, and all those intangible words that I can throw out there. Great quarterback at Florida State. I think we're going to start seeing it before the end of this year is over. So that's why for me, and I know it's just a lot of belief and it's a lot of opinion, and I can't really back it outside of an 0 for 9 performance. But I've watched a lot of his high school tape. I've read a ton of stuff about the kid. I mean, I think that it's all going to be there. We've heard some things coming out of practices that he lights it up and he's the best quarterback in practice. Like I don't know. It's just me going out on a limb here. I've been a homer for him since day one, and I'm not hopping off that train.
Let's be fair. Pat Narduzzi had a statement today where he just talked about one of our quarterbacks having grit, being a ball player, being someone to be worried about, and it wasn't 0 for 9. Who is he
talking about?
It wasn't 0 for 9.
Oh, it was JT, one Trizzle?
JT, baby.
What's interesting about this? We're not mentioning there's been a lot of freshmen that have gotten a lot of playing time on the defensive side of the ball. We haven't mentioned their names, and I don't know if it's because necessarily that they've been bad, but I think it's still so much unknown. Steven Dix has got a lot of burn. He looked pretty good against North Carolina. Well, better than he had been. And then it's just been kind of up and down. DJ Lundy has been aggressive and then too aggressive and then not aggressive enough sometimes. It's just been a mixed bag. So I think the true freshman on the defensive side of the ball that I'm most excited for is one that I haven't seen play a snap yet, and that's Demore Tate.
Yeah. It's similar to Chuba. I mean, you're basing a lot of it off of what you've seen on tape. Of
It's
him
potential.
coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of potential. Dix worries me a little bit. I wonder if Dix is maxed out almost.
Physically?
He's slow.
Physically, definitely he is. I mean, do you really expect him to pack a whole lot more on there?
No.
I find it hard to believe that he will. I get, the mental reps are going to help him, but I mean, look, he's 6-7 games into the season now. He's been on campus since January. I have some concerns there long term that he's going to grow a whole lot more. You obviously hope that he will, and they'll have a full off season and be able to get him in film study and whatnot. But I've heard some rumblings about his ability to pick up kind of some of the coverage concepts that concern me. And then just watching him, he seems to make the same mistakes over and over and over and over again, which at this point he shouldn't be doing.
Okay. Something to keep an eye on.
Just long term. I mean, I like him as a player. I think he's a good player. I worry about him taking that next step, that jump to being really, really good.
I think he'd be a player that'd be better suited for football 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Interesting. We have any clips here for this or no?
Yeah, we're gonna. We
I
got
might
some
lay
clips
some
for
on
this.
top.
Okay. It's okay. So just cut this out. All right, guys. Final question of the night. I thought this has gone very smooth besides your terrible choice in movies. Minus me. I'm so happy with you for saying Bloodsport. I love you so
Never
much.
heard of Bloodsport.
Ah, jeez. Okay.
What?
That's a project for you. You're gonna have to. Yeah, it's only on TV all the time in between like showings of Roadhouse.
Yeah, not on that channel, buddy.
He's too busy watching DIY and Food Network.
Flip My House.
Hey,
or
don't
something.
talk bad about Alton Brown, man.
And in this house we do not slander the king of Flavortown, Guy Fieri. All right.
That freaking
No,
jerk off.
you're not gonna talk about a guy like that. He's a saint. Anyway, you're gonna you be hot. You be hot. All right, Kev.
Mhm.
Few questions left.
What's up?
The fans want to know about drills that can help out some areas that we've been deficient in. Number one, we mentioned it, we teased it. Wide receiver drills that can be done to clean up the drops. And then, Adam, when Kevin's done, the fans also want to know maybe some defensive drills that can be done to improve team defense. So I'm guessing like gang tackling, maybe angles, things like that. So, Kev, you go first. How do we fix our wide receivers other than putting that fun glue substance from Little Giants on their hand, which you don't know what I'm talking about because you've never seen because you're uncultured.
No, I love Little Giants. Grew up on that. You can't just look at our wide receivers and focus on the drops. So,
Okay.
Chuba's left-handed, right?
No,
That's a thing. No, he's right-handed.
He's
Oh,
right, yep.
never mind.
Altmaier's lefty.
Gotcha. That's right. You have to look at their ability to get separation, and then, the drops, of course, but they're not getting separation. They're making life harder on the quarterbacks. So drills that you tend to see teams do is wide receivers usually work a lot on footwork, a lot more than you would think. It has to do with coming clean out of breaks, hand fighting at the line when you're facing a bump and run press coverage. You have to learn how to give good head fakes. So when you come to the end of the beginning of the route is often called the stem of the route. So when you stem a route, you want to stem it a certain direction. So sometimes you'll stem the same way that you're going or the opposite, and you'll work on head fakes. So they're doing a lot of those footwork drills, and then at the end of almost every drill, they're getting balls rifled at them, and they're learning, and they're just developing the motor patterns of catching the ball. They're learning how to catch the ball.
Is the lack of separation, is it physical or is it more from technique-driven stuff like footwork and route integrity, things like that, in your opinion, from what you've seen?
Well, you don't have to be fast to get separation. It definitely helps, right? Like if you run a 4.2, you're going to get separation just running a vertical. But
Right.
you know, Jerry Rice ran a 4.8, and he was a king of separation. You know,
So our
just
technique
running.
is crap.
All right, yeah, we're not running good routes. At the end of the day, we're not running good routes. When the ball hits our hands, we're not catching it. And the routes is a coaching thing. The catching is, I think, a mental thing. These kids have caught thousands of footballs. They know how to catch a freaking football. It's not that they can't catch a football. It's the fact that, one, maybe their timing was off with Chubba and they weren't ready for it, or they just weren't ready for the pure, unadulterated arm strength coming from the cannon attached to Chubba Purdy's right shoulder.
The Kamehameha fireball getting fired at them.
I mean, listen, when you're getting lame ducks lobbed up to you all day long, it's tough to catch a tight spiral.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love it. Okay, so that's something that's interesting. Obviously, all eyes are focused on the defensive side of the ball for the coaching aspect, which, given the results, is natural. However, maybe keep your eyes on a coach, an alumni, a legacy, somebody that Mike Norvell's never worked with before. Not saying that there's anything there, but just something to keep an eye on if the wide receivers, if their level of play continues to stay at the same subpar level, in my opinion. You think that's fair, Adam?
Yeah, absolutely. I 110% think coaching is an issue at the wide receiver position.
All right. We'll leave that at that. Unless you want to expound more.
No, their route running is atrocious, and they've got to get better at it. I think part of it is an attention to detail by the players, but I also think it's accountability by the coach. I don't think he holds them accountable at all. It's been a problem for years, and it hasn't changed one bit. So,
and it's one of those things too. When Dugans came in, a lot of people were like, "Hey, your wide receivers are going to block better, but there's going to be some other deficiencies."
That's exactly right.
It might not have been picked up on because the edits of him and the donk are very fun, and he's a guy that a lot of fans have a lot of affection for, which they should. And he's been recruiting pretty well, and he's one of the few guys with ties to Florida on this staff. So those are something that you have to think about as far as the composition of the total staff. But keep an eye on the routes, guys. Mm-hmm. Look for the separation.
Agreed.
Adam, defensive drills. What can be done to improve our disgusting, not so very good at all defense?
I mean, I just think it's a lot of. I mean, like in the secondary, they're just working a lot of fit drills. So like if you're linebackers, you're working recognition stuff. So you got backs going different. You know, you're going to line the backfield up of the whatever you're going to be seeing, and just working your different flows. Your fast flow, your inside flow, your angle flow, which would be off tackle, and you're just really working on staying behind the ball or staying on the back shoulder of the ball, back hip of the ball, whatever, and trying to leverage the football better. I mean, those are the kind of things that they've got to be working at all levels, is just leveraging the football better. We see so many times that guys are dipping their heads inside, or getting out of their gap, and it's really, for me, that's where every day would start and stop. I mean, you're working probably some pursuit drill where you're getting all 11 out there, but that really just is about trying to get guys to run fast after the football.
Effort, yeah.
Which has certainly been a problem at times, so you're probably working that. But I mean, I think you're working a lot of 9-on-7 run game where you're just trying to get guys to fit better, and you're getting a true idea of that. Now, my question is, how much do we think they're really being able to work that in a COVID year? With physicality in practice, you're trying to limit guys, make sure not everybody's getting exposed and those kinds of things. They've got all these precautions. So I wonder how much they're working 9-on-7, 7-on, not 7-on-7 won't be an issue because you're working on throwing the ball, but that physicality in practice, I question how much of that they're working. Because tackling has been an issue. It's been an issue around the country. So I wonder how physical everybody's been in practice. But for me, it starts and stops with 9-on-7, working your run game fits every single day. And I know they're working it, but you just got to keep hammering it and get those guys to understand where they fit on every single type of play. Inside zone, outside zone, power, counter tray, all those things.
That's a good point, and it's so funny because when you see in spring, there's always the narrative like the defense is always ahead of the offense, and if there's not, something's wrong. But it seems in college football this year with a truncated offseason, all of the offenses are ahead of the defenses almost like paradoxically. And maybe it's going to what you're saying, like even the practice time that they're getting, they're not emphasizing as much physicality as they had before with like COVID protocols or things like that. But there's very few teams in America playing very good defense right now. You can think of maybe a couple off the top of your head. Now, caveat, they're all playing defense much better than Florida State, with the exception of like Ole Miss, and that's the only one I could think of. But that's something to ponder. Kev, anything else to throw into that before we wrap this thing up into a nice little bow?
Yeah, I think this season just has a giant asterisk next to it when it comes to defenses, and there's just very little tackling drills compared to a normal season, and it's just a mess. And Florida State's having to work in freshmen at the linebacker position, which is arguably the most important position when it comes to defending these spread offenses. And there's just so much going on here. Some of, like, DeMore Tate can't come in. Miko Dotson's been hurting off and on. We've just been light where we can't be light, and it's just a weird year for that to happen. We're consistently not making the one-on-one tackles we need to make. We're not making the plays we need to make. And so it's like, yeah, we can freak out and just say the world's ending, but this is an asterisk year, and it needs to be a learning opportunity. And if things aren't different next year, we get our pitchforks, you know?
I agree. It's a grain of salt year, guys. However, one thing you don't need to see with a grain of salt is another just beast performance by the boys at the triple option. We don't need an off season. We're just always hitting our stride. Guys, I had fun. Good virtual mailbag episode. Hope you guys enjoy it. We did something different for you in the bye week because we're innovative. We're new. We're the Mike Leach of video podcasts. Always on the cutting edge. Adam, shut up. Don't say a thing. Kevin and I know what we're speaking of. Listen.
Trust the progress, man.
I mean, I like to think of myself as the Frank Dukes of Florida State analysis, when it comes to.
I love it.
Just saying.
Adam, the much more flexible Frank Dukes of the Florida State analysis. So listen, for flexible Frank Dukes, for my guy, the movie buff, Kevin Little, X's and Knowles, I am Trey Rowland. Now, I'm not going to end it yet because you need to subscribe to the X's and Knowles YouTube page. You need to go to Tomahawk Nation, read everything that Adam writes and everything that Kevin writes. You need to follow the Triple Option FSU on Twitter. I'm lazy, so I don't do anything else besides that. But if I did, I need you guys to follow it. Tell your friends. We're the best. We're number one. Kumite Womack. See you guys after Pitt.
And we're free.